Hello and welcome to NewsFirst Prime. This is Archana here. Old is gold. Having forgotten this, in the name of industrialization, we have exploited our soil and chemicalized our food. The growing number of diseases stand an example to it. In these times, some certain experts and certain farmers have urged people to get back to natural farming and use a lesser usage of chemicals, or rather stop the usage of chemicals. One such expert today we have with us is Dr. Prabhakar Rao. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you so much for having us here.
So it was a pleasure meeting you today here. How is this whole concept of natural farming? How did it actually happen to you?
So, Art of Living as an organization, we have been promoting natural farming for over 19 years now. Ever since our agriculture trust was instated here in the ashram, our Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar ji, he has been very consistent in his vision that what we eat is who we are. So the Hindi version is jaisa ann vaisa tan vaisa man. So he says that there is a strong connection between the food we eat, our body health and our mental health. Therefore, for 19 years we have been promoting sustainable natural farming technology, which is quite different from organic agriculture, but it is chemical free and it is based on very ancient knowledge, which is encapsulated in one of our books like Vriksha Ayurveda, Krishi Parasara, we have Charaka Samhita. Our ancient texts, including the Vedas, are a veritable warehouse of information on sustainable agriculture. And Gurudev has been culling that information, and we have been propagating it. Today we are working with over 2.2 million farmers, 22 lakh farmers across the country, promoting natural farming. So we are an institution who has been wedded to natural farming for a very long time.
So how is it different from organic farming?
Yes, both the farming technologies don't use chemicals. That's the similarity. But when it comes to the actual technology, they are very different. See, today organic farming is a generic term used for chemical free agriculture. However, specifically organic farming refers to what is known as use of compost, decomposed compost, farmyard manure. That is the starting point for organic farming. In Kannada we call it tippe gobre. So tippe gobre is the starting point for Savaya Krishi, which is organic farming. Now, when we do composting, there is a lot of heat that is produced. And when heat is produced, everything gets sterilized. So that beautiful smell, fresh smell of composted cow dung is because there is no microbes, everything is dead. It's completely sterilized. There will be no insects in it, there will be no seeds in it, viable seeds, there will be no microbes. Everything is sterilized, and it's because of the heat during the process. In fact, when composting happens and you put your hand, you will get blistered. It's so hot. So that compost is very good for increasing the physical property of the soil. But inherently it has got no microbes or anything. In natural farming, the whole thing is based on something that our elders, ancients, called sattva in the soil. What they called sattva, today in modern science, we call them nutrient solubilizing microbes. So there are several bacteria and fungi which are in the soil, whose only job is to break the minerals which contain all the nutrition that the plant needs. But it's not soluble, it doesn't dissolve in water. Those minerals are broken down by these microbes, and these microbes give it to the plant. Which mineral is required, that mineral will be given. When it is required, it will be given. Quantity it is required, it will be given. So there is no wastage. So it is unlike when we throw urea in chemical farming. Suppose that night it rains, all the urea is washed off. Nothing remains. Whereas in this natural farming, the microbes will not waste anything. They will give only what the plant requires, when it requires, in the quantity it requires. So microbes based agriculture, that is nutrient solubilizing microbe based agriculture, today has got the name natural farming. In our ancient days, it used to be called Rishi Krishi, Prakritik Krishi, Naisargika Krishi. All those names have been attributed to it, but today it has gained popularity as natural farming. So, organic farming requires compost. Natural farming only requires microbes.
How is it? Does it happen with the minimal water also, or how is it?
Very much. You see, so when we apply chemical fertilizer, necessarily we have to irrigate the land very heavily. Otherwise, the fertilizer will burn the plant. So, if we put urea or NPK, if I don't irrigate for the next couple of days, the plant will die. So, we have to use a lot of water. Whereas here, we make bioformulations, that is microbial cocktails. Names are very nice. Jiva Amrita, that is the elixir of life. Jiva Amrita. Gana Jiva Amrita. Bija Amrita, that means the elixir for the seeds, the divine potion. So such like we have got these beautiful formulations, Rishi Mitti and all these things that we have. The principle is very simple. All of these contain billions of microbes, and those live microbes are put into the soil. There they will multiply and they will reach an equilibrium where they coexist with the plants. They break the minerals, give it to the plant, and plant in return will reward them with a molecule of sugar. That's the symbiosis between the microbes and the plant. Now, in the ancient days, we did not have microscopes and all the research techniques that we have today, where this association between microbes and plants is established in the modern science. But in their own understanding, our ancients knew this symbiosis between microbes and plants. And they always believed that if there is sattva in the soil, agriculture is a given. So, everything was, we have to retain the sattva in the soil. So, that is how they worked, and I believe that it was a very deep understanding that they had. So, this is the difference between organic and natural farming.
Yeah, having a PhD in plant breeding and genetics, how was your journey into natural farming?
So, yes, so I belong to that generation of scientists who brought in the green revolution into the country. I was a plant breeder. I worked on wheat breeding. And my mentors were Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, Dr. M.V. Rao. When I was doing my master's thesis, they were my committee members for my thesis defense. And we were the ones who actually brought in this whole concept. Dig bore wells, put urea, put NPK, use hybrid seeds. So, we were the ones who brought it in. But later on in life, when I thought more about it, I had a serious doubt whether what we were preaching, would it be sustainable 30-40 years down the line. I was seriously having doubts about this. When I completed my studies in agriculture, I was getting these doubts. Till one day I decided I am not convinced that this is a sustainable technology. That's when I went and studied architecture, and my entire profession has been that of an architect, and I have specialized in landscape architecture. So, that's been my profession. So, when I came back to India, when Gurudev called me back and I joined the Art of Living to do seva here, I realized that I have a tremendous opportunity in some way to actually undo some mistake I may have done unconsciously or unknowingly. And this was a huge learning for me, because nobody taught me that there was actually such an ancient science which was so deep, so sustainable, served us for thousands of years, and people say that those days the population was less. No, when you go to towns in Mohenjo-daro, they had populations of 500,000, 600,000, 1 million. They were huge settlements, and they were still doing sustainable agriculture then. So, when I started to research into our texts like Vriksha Ayurveda, I found that this is very scientific. So, since then I have done using modern scientific tools, I have explored Vriksha Ayurveda and natural farming. So a lot of the statistical analysis, the CRBD designs or the chi-square tests or F-value tests, whatever we use in our modern science in agriculture, the same things are used to show how actually natural farming is a very scientific technology that can be used to take our nation forward.
Okay, okay, sir. Actually, I was also seeing one of your videos. You were stressing on urban gardening,
Yes.
things like that. So, yeah, considering the scorching heat we are having in Bangalore and all, what would you? I mean, how feasible is it?
See, eventually this Western concept of creating vast supply chain linkages, where something is grown in Argentina, it is shipped across the world to Europe, or something is grown in Indonesia and it gets shipped to the US, or something is grown in India and it goes somewhere else. This large supply chain networks are inherently unsustainable because they add huge carbon footprint. Because if you take the cost, the environmental costs of transportation, for example, we are transporting things across huge distances. This is innately not a sustainable solution in the long run. It may have worked in the short run, but we cannot continue. Today, leading environmentalists are talking about hub developed agriculture, which means if Bangalore city needs to be fed, all the food for Bangalore should come within, let's say, a 200-kilometer radius. Then it is a sustainable method. And today, if you see, even in Europe, in the US and Australia, even parking lot terraces have become production for vegetables or fruits. People have started to realize that there is inherently lot of urban and peri-urban spaces that can actually be used to grow food, you know. And this is a concept which we practiced for thousands of years in our country. In our country, no garden was complete unless it had a fruit tree, it had some vegetables, it had some medicinal plants, tulsi, kottamiri and mint and pudina. See, it was considered a garden only if it was all that. Perhaps a few roses and hibiscus would be there, but a garden meant that it provided food. So I believe the concept today is moving in worldwide, it is moving that way. So India will sooner or later join this movement, where even if you have 2 pots in your balcony, you will grow something that will add to your food. Like for example, we have a species of a variety of tomato which is grown in Magadi. It's called Magadi. Its name is Magadi because it was grown there. It's one of the hardiest tomato varieties. The beauty of this tomato is throughout its life, it will keep on producing 3-4 fruits a day. Commercially, it is a failure because the farmer wants to harvest everything in 1 or 2 pickings. He cannot wait every day to pluck fruits. But for a housewife, this is the plant she wants. She wants a plant that can give you fruit every day. She can put it in a rasam or a sambar or whatever. Now, this Magadi plant is so hardy. If you grow it in your balcony or in your garden, I challenge you to kill it. It's one of those plants you can't kill. It is just so hardy and it yields so beautifully. It is an indigenous variety. It is what we call a nati bija, desi seed. But such are the plants that urban gardeners should start adopting. See, we have to make a beginning somewhere because every drop counts. So there is enough variety of fruits and vegetables, herbs that you can grow, greens that you can grow. If you don't grow anything, you don't even have a pot, grow microgreens. You will still make food at home, you know. And this food, you know for sure, doesn't have chemicals. It's grown in front of your eyes. Your children will join that process of growing it. It becomes a family experience. So I think there is great potential for home gardening in natural farming. Yes.
So it can be grown even in if you don't have a small balcony place. A few pots is good enough.
Absolutely, absolutely. Many people have told me, I don't have enough sunlight. Okay, grow herbs.
Yes, I think apartments have a big problem with sunlight.
Yes, but they have grown great, beautiful tubers of turmeric. They have grown ginger, which doesn't require so much light. So it is what kind of choice, what do you choose to grow, that is important. But once you know, you will never stop. You will never stop.
So getting those tasty
Absolutely.
and healthy things on your plate is always a delight.
Correct.
Yes, sir. And something, actually I've heard so much about your collecting seeds, indigenous seeds. Can you please elaborate on that?
Yes, so I have been, see, as an architect, I go to very remote areas in this world, and every time I went to very remote areas, I found that everything was being invaded by hybrids and GMO seeds. Everywhere you go, you get the same type of bindi, the same type of tomato, the same type of brinjal. And I was getting worried in a sense that where are all the old seeds gone? Like Karnataka is so famous for a dish called vangibath. For vangibath to be tasty, you need one particular variety of brinjal, which is called Yerengere Badnekai. Yerengere brinjal, it comes from a village, Yerengere near Mysore, and it's a whitish green long brinjal, which is soft like butter. And the flavor of that brinjal makes the vangibath. Today you have got hybrid wannabes, which don't have the taste, they have the look, but they taste like sawdust, you know. As a result, if you go to hotels today, vangibath has disappeared from the menu because nobody, you can't make vangibath without that, you know. So I realized that there is a very important need that right under our nose, these varieties are becoming extinct. So I started 2011 when I came here, I started to save vegetables. And I have tested over 2000 varieties of seeds which I have been able to get from various parts of India, and about 560 I have stabilized and put it on my website. So on my website you can order and I give it to anybody who wants to grow, because these vegetables have to be preserved. If we lose it, they are gone forever, you know. So and now in our ashram, in the art of living, Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji has created something called the Rashtriya Bij Kosh. So we are now setting up seed banks all across the country, where local farmers will harvest and save seed.
Oh, these are the indigenous seeds,
All
and not the
indigenous
hybrid
seeds.
varieties.
Natural farming can be done only with indigenous seeds. It cannot be done with hybrids or GM.